Hey you guys, it's HPB Bastion here to do my review of the Blade MSRX. I guess I'll start off by saying, this is Blade MSRX right here, and it is the more agile, sharpened, harder core version of the Blade MSR, and nowadays you actually can't get the MSR because it's discontinued. You're gonna have to get one secondhand or new in the box, just off eBay or something, because they do not manufacture it. They still do manufacture parts for it, but you know, you cannot buy it from Blade anymore. So this is basically the replacement for it. It has no fly bar, so that overall is just gonna free up your controls a little bit. It has linear long throw servos, which do have ball bearings in them. So it's going to be all around smoother movement and hopefully longer life on that. It has the AS3X, which is a new development in Horizon Hobbies products. It's mainly used on ultramicro airplanes, but they have implemented it into a helicopter form. Gosh, there really isn't much else about it that is new and different. It comes with a red body only, whereas the MSR came with the blue. The blades are thinner, sleeker blades. They're not as big, and this helicopter is definitely not designed for beginners at all. For me, the MSR was my first helicopter, and I just practiced on the simulator. I don't think I could have done that same thing with this helicopter. This would be a very difficult helicopter to learn on, like even after with my experience with the MSR, this was a hard helicopter to transition to, because it's very touchy. It's very sensitive, but very responsive also. But where you gain that right inside, when there isn't any wind, you feel like this is a very agile helicopter, right? But when you take it outside, that really starts to, its smallness really becomes eminent, where, the AS3X gyro is supposed to help it with stabilization, and another thing they say is that it helps with his stabilization in wind. And while it does help keep it level, it doesn't necessarily keep it in the same place. Like, I'll routinely find that the helicopter will be flat, it'll be level, you know, like, it'll be flying like this just fine, but it'll be moving backwards, and, you know, the gyro can't account for that. It only knows to correct when the helicopter is leaning, so it's making sure that the helicopter's flat, but it's still moving backwards. So the gyro can't fully deal with the wind, and you know, you really wouldn't expect it to be able to. I mean, it's a very small helicopter, it gets blown around very easily. However, what I will say is that the MSR did not handle very well in the wind. You know, it just didn't have the throw. It just felt like it was fighting you every single move you made, and you were going full tilt. The stick would be full up. It would, you know, it didn't even feel like a hobby helicopter. There wasn't really an option. It was either full forward, full back, full left, full right, just to try and counteract what the wind was doing to the helicopter. With this, it's kind of the same, but a little bit better. It's kind of where you still do give it full, and it takes a while to respond, but it does respond quicker. It's better to fly in the wind. I do really like it, but the other thing is when you're flying it indoors, you just wish you were flying it outdoors. It feels like, well, when I'm talking about indoors also, I am talking about in a house. This is not in a you wouldn't be flying it in a gym, is what I'm saying. In a gym, I'm sure this helicopter would be great and would be a lot of fun, and probably a gym is the perfect environment for it. But yeah, when you're inside a house, it does feel pretty small. It feels pretty cramped, and it does feel just like a touchy MSR. So yeah, that's kind of, and also another big problem that I have with it is that the battery life. The battery life is poor, to say the least. You don't expect to use a 120 milliamp battery on this. It just doesn't work. It really doesn't. You get such a small amount of runtime, because the problem is that AS3X system, it hogs so much power. It really does. The only thing you're going to get away with is a 150. And the helicopter, if you get it in the BNF Basic, it doesn't come with anything. It's just a helicopter. No battery, no charger, no nothing. And I know E-flite's lipos are, they're back order. They're on back order right now. So the alternative is this little guy right here. It's the Thunder Power 25C 150 milliamp. Or actually, it's 160 milliamp. One cell LiPo. You can get these for around $10. They're pretty cheap. You know, it's just a battery that works, to be honest with you. It's around the same price as the little E-flite LiPos. I know E-flite hasn't come out with them, but this guy fills the void in the market. You still can't. So, I mean, guess what I'm saying is that you can still get 150 milliamp LiPos for this helicopter, because it's the only one you would want to use. You really don't have an option. 120 milliamps don't. It's just not enough. You don't get any runtime off of it. I mean, literally, you went full power up and down twice, and the helicopter's already out of battery. I hesitate to say that you get a 2-minute battery life off of 120. This, you maybe get around a 5. So the battery life, it's a pretty power-hungry little guy, and you can't, and fitting a bigger battery to it, well, I'm not sure if that would work, but all I know is it's going to sap a lot of performance out of it. And it probably wouldn't be a whole lot of fun to fly if you're putting, like, you want to E-flite's bigger version batteries on it. So that's a big criticism I have of it. Overall, it's a fun helicopter, but another problem that I have is that the blade grips. The blade grips break. If there's anything that's going to break on this helicopter, it's not those few little spare parts that they give you in the package. It's the blade grips. Now it's not actually the grips themselves that grip the blades, it's these little ball ends. Gosh, focus. Focus. Okay, it doesn't feel like focusing for me. Change the lighting. Okay, well, either way, there's a little linkage. So, right, the rotor head linkages, it's where they connect onto the blade grips, right there, those little ball ends that it connects onto, and when you crash, those ball ends just snap off. They just snap right off. It happens all the time if you're in a moderately decent-sized crash. I realize that, you know, it's a helicopter, it really shouldn't be crashed, but the Ultramicros definitely are advertised as slightly more durable helicopters, and they've always been thought of that way. This helicopter, it's a lot more fragile than the MSR. And you can't interchange the blade grips from the MSR into this. It flies horribly. I've tried it. They're more durable, it still flies horribly. It really, yeah, they just they just break, really, to be honest with you. It's a very cheap part to replace. It's only $4, but when you start replacing it a lot, it starts to get annoying. Really, that is the main weakness of this helicopter. I found that the landing gear was slightly more durable, which is a positive note. It still broke, but it lasted longer. I'm pretty rough on this helicopter, I'm not gonna lie. I don't treat it like any helicopter should be treated, but nevertheless, I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Overall, if I had to, would I buy it again? It's hard to say. It really is hard to say. There are other things that I would almost rather put my money into, but, you know, I think all in all, I would buy it again. It's a pretty fun little helicopter. You can do a lot with it. It's more agile. You can fly it in more places. To me, I think the AS3X system kind of ruins it. That's kind of how I've always felt about AS3X. I really don't like it. I really don't. It's just, I find that it's just, overall, for one, on airplanes, it's just, you see an airplane, it looks like it's having a seizure in the air, in the wind, because it's just twitching back and forth constantly. And it's so annoying. That right there annoys me so much that it removes the benefit of having AS3X in general. With this, I really, I don't see the point in it, to be honest with you. It's just a way to kill the battery. That's really all I feel that AS3X is doing in this helicopter. Like I said, though, I would buy it again, and look forward to running videos of this helicopter, you know, flying videos and stuff like that. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe.